Wait, that was 3 years ago. You've said it recently. The math was right. It just didn't feel right. You remember childhood summers that lasted a decade, and now entire years fold up like weekends. If you've quietly wondered whether life is somehow speeding up on you, you're right. It is. And tonight I can show you exactly why, and how to slow it back down. Because this isn't a small thing, is it? Underneath "where did this year go" sits a quieter question, the one nobody says out loud. How much of my one life am I actually experiencing? The clocks aren't lying. A year is still a year. But the clock in your head runs on completely different fuel. So tonight, we open it up. And stay to the end, because the proof involves scientists dropping volunteers 10 stories into a giant net, on purpose, to find the switch that makes time feel bigger. Of all the files in the Watchroom, this is the one I've most wanted to open. So, welcome, you picked a good night. Let's take a breath and look at what's actually happening in there. Here's the secret underneath this whole episode. You don't have one clock, you have two. The world's clock, steady, indifferent, 60 seconds a minute, and the mind's clock, which doesn't measure time at all. The mind's clock measures memory. When you look back and ask, how long was that year? Your brain doesn't check a calendar. It counts how much new got recorded. Lots of new memories. The year feels vast. Almost none. The year collapses to a moment. Hold on to that. It quietly explains everything that follows. Now look at childhood through that lens. At 8 years old, almost everything is a first. The first thunderstorm you really notice. New classrooms, new words, new fears, new friends. The recorder never stops running. So when a child looks back on one summer, the constellation is enormous, and enormous feels long. Those summers weren't longer than yours are now. They were denser. Childhood isn't slow time. It's rich recording. Then adulthood arrives, bringing your brain's favorite efficiency trick. When days repeat, it stops recording them in full. Why keep 1,000 copies of the same commute? So it compresses. Same desk, same route, same evening. Filed as one memory, stamped, etc. And listen, your brain isn't stealing your year. It's trying to save you energy. It's being kind in its way. But remember what the mind's clock counts. A year of compressed days leaves a thin file, and a thin file looked back on feels like it lasted a weekend. Your years aren't shrinking, your recordings are. You already know this feeling in miniature, by the way. The drive home always feels shorter than the drive there. Same road, same miles, every single time. Researchers still debate the exact recipe. Expectation plays a part too. But here's the piece that matters tonight. The way out is packed with new information, and the way home barely makes the file. Familiar time takes up less room in memory. Now stretch that over 10 years of familiar days, and there's your vanishing decade. There are other accomplices, and the oldest theory is pure arithmetic. It's been whispering since 1877. At 5 years old, 1 year is a fifth of your entire existence. An ocean. At 50, it's 1/50th, a cup. Each new year is a smaller slice of everything you've ever known. So each one feels smaller against the whole. It's not the full story, but it means the current was always going to pull this direction. The real question is, what swims against it? Then there's the modern accomplice. And I'm naming it gently, because I'm not here to shame anyone. The scroll. 3 hours can pass on a feed and leave almost nothing in the file. Not because you're careless, because passive, endless sameness is exactly what the recorder skips. And notice the cruel little paradox. Scrolling feels fast while it happens and empty when you look back. Time eaten twice. The most forgettable hours of our era are also its most carefully engineered ones. So if the feed keeps winning some nights, that's not weakness. That's 100 engineers versus one tired thumb. That makes complete sense, actually. Now for the proof that's been hiding in your own life all along. Think of the last wonderful trip you took. While you were in it, it flew. Then you got home, looked back, and it felt like you'd been gone a month. There's a name for this. Psychologists call it the holiday paradox, and naming it is the first bit of relief. Absorption makes time race in the moment and stretch in the memory. The recorder was simply on full. Now flip it. A dull afternoon in a waiting room crawls while you're in it. Every minute a small eternity, and then vanishes from the record entirely, like it never happened. Time in the moment and time in memory run on opposite fuel. Once you see that, you can't unsee it, and in a minute you'll use it. But first, the tower. I did promise. Neuroscientists had a question you've probably lived. In a near miss, the car braking just in time, does the world really go slow motion? So they built the gentlest, terrifying experiment I know. Volunteers were dropped, backwards, on purpose, into an enormous safety net, from 10 stories up, wearing a wrist display flashing numbers just slightly too fast to read. The logic was lovely. If fear truly slows time, the falling brain should be able to read those numbers. Nobody could, not one person. But afterward, every volunteer remembered their fall as about a third longer than it really was. The moment wasn't slower. The recording was denser. Fear made the brain write everything down, and a full page reads long. There's the whole secret caught in one drop. Duration isn't something you feel, it's something you keep. Which brings us to the part I most wanted to tell you. This is reversible. Not the calendar, the experience. If the mind's clock counts what got recorded, then lengthening a life from the inside is almost embarrassingly simple to say. Give the recorder more to keep. Scientists call the active ingredient novelty, but I want to show you how small novelty is allowed to be. You don't need a new life, you need new frames in this one. 3 practices, little ones. Here we go. Practice 1. Break one pattern a week. Deliberately and small. A different route home. A cuisine you can't pronounce. The far entrance of the same store. A different chair at your own table. Yes, the chair counts. I checked. It sounds nearly silly until you remember the mechanism. The recorder wakes for different. One novel frame can make a whole evening survive the compression. People who try this keep reporting the same lovely, strange thing. The weeks start feeling longer, in the best possible way. Practice 2. Schedule firsts. Childhood felt endless because it was made of firsts, and nobody ever revoked your license to have them. Adults just stop applying. And this is measured, not poetry. In laboratories, when one unexpected image appears in a stream of repeats, people judge it to have lasted longer. Novelty stretches felt time. So, one true first a month. A skill, a place, a food, a small fear gently faced. The pottery bowl will be lopsided. Good, lopsided is memorable. For the inner clock, wealth is counted in firsts. Practice 3 is the deepest one. Attention is the recorder's power switch. The same dinner, half watched over a glowing phone, files as a ghost. Fully attended. The taste, the voices, the ridiculous story your friend tells with their hands, it files as an event. This is what attention actually purchases. Not politeness, not productivity, duration. Every moment you're fully present for is a moment your future self gets to keep. Presence isn't a virtue. It's a time machine that runs forward, slowly, which is exactly the direction we wanted. And one small ritual multiplies all 3. Tonight, name 3 specific things from today. Not work was fine, the exact thing. The joke your coworker made, the color of the sky at 6. Retrieval strengthens the file. You're not just remembering the day, you're voting for it to last. Your camera roll has been proving this works all along. The trip month bursts with moments. The routine month is a ghost town. 3 honest sentences a night builds that density on purpose. People who do it describe the same eerie, lovely feeling. Life got longer. It didn't. It got kept. So here's the truth to carry out of the Watchroom tonight. Time isn't speeding up, and your life was never leaking. The years felt shorter because they were quieter in the file, and the file is still yours to write. You can't add years to the calendar, nobody can, but you can add life to the years. Measurably, starting tonight, with a different chair and 3 honest sentences. And may I say the tender part out loud? The ache under, where did this year go, was never really about calendars. It's the quiet fear that we weren't there for our own lives. Tonight, that fear loses its teeth, because presence isn't a personality trait some people are born with. It's a skill. And now you know exactly how it works. The child with the endless summers is still in there. She was never counting hours. She was collecting firsts. She'd be so glad to know you're hiring again. If this gave you back a little ownership of your time, the like helps, but the share matters more. Someone you love said, "This year is flying," just last week, and felt a small ache saying it. Send them the answer. Don't let them think it's only theirs. And in the comments, tell me the last real first you had. I collect those here in the Watchroom. Subscribe if you'd like me next week. I'm opening the file on why your best ideas arrive in the shower. It's sweeter than you'd think. Until then, be gentle with yourself and go sit in the different chair. I'm Sage, and I'll be right here.